All right, that should be doing it, I think. Give it a second. Can you guys hear me now? How about now? There we go. All right, that should. I'm getting echo. I think I had a playback going. What it was, I believe, is that the Cortana's always listening, so it's using this microphone because that was the Windows device. So when I went in here to the settings and I changed it to the 930 gaming headset, which is broken. I would be using it, but it's broken. I need to get a new USB headset. Well, I turned that off, and then when I went back into the settings here and went into audio, see, this was missing before for the main microphone, but it showed this, but not this. It's because this was not available because Cortana's always listening, or was, until I just turned that bitch off. So, all right. So how's it sound? I know this microphone's always usually sounded pretty good in this Logitech there. So let's see. We got a little lag there. All right. I'm looking this way sometimes. All right. 5x5. All right. There's your problem. You're using Windows 10. Hey, show respect for Windows 10. Damn it. So I was going to stick a banner up in this top black space. I think I originally had all this set up for. Let's see. I know there's a way to put the chat in there, but I don't have this all set up yet. So I know you can probably do that, right? Set a windowed area. Chat. Let's see here. I'm setting up some stuff. How do we do this? Source. Capture. Oops. Well, that. All right, that ain't working. All right, we'll just go to that. And we're on the wrong screen. Oh, well. I'll have to play with that stuff later. Oops. To figure out how people are. I know you can put a bunch of different windowed screens in there, and you can have the chat, you know, show up like, you know, right over there on the right half of the screen over here where it's all black for you guys. But anyway, oh well, let's just do it because before my wife comes in or something and messes it up. So I made a little folder here real quick with just a couple things from this week. Go through it, a couple little silly things, you know. Fun stuff we had, you know, it was 113 to 118-ish this week. So, you know, this is oh, and I got the photo app is being weird. Ever since I had like just a recent update or something's been weird about a few things. And of course, now it's great timing for it to do that. There we go. All right, so co-worker over there is also the wife's brother. So this is the mall, and we're up here on this rooftop here. And another technician actually wrote it up for us to go do a simple job of going to this mall rooftop here, and he's going to have us put in 8 unions, a union at each of these drain lines here. You can see this one here has been cut, and water's coming out because, you know, we cut it. And then the main line, you know, was 1 inch. So we have a bag full of fittings here. And it's supposed to be simple, but, you know, nothing turns out that way. So we're at this place. We get it prepped, go get the fittings, come back. And then they're like ready to torch. And they initiate a new, you have to have a hot work permit. So you usually only see like in industrial applications, but this place implemented that. And then their person wasn't going to be there till 11 a.m. So we couldn't use the torch until after 11 the other day. And that really sucked. This was Thursday. So it was in the afternoon, and we had other jobs to get to. So it really sucked. We were trying to rush, and we had to use the torch. And these roofs tops, I'm telling you, if it's 115 out, that's in the shade. in the desert here, and you get the sun reflecting off of the roof, so you get the sun hitting you, and then you got wherever it's reflecting off of hitting you. So if you hold a thermometer up there and put it in the shade, kind of in your shade, but just kind of up there just to kind of see what it'll be like. It's like 120 when it's 115 down below. So that sucks. So we cut all these lines and blew some water through it. Just hooked the hose up, of course. Just look at this garbage. And this is after I initially, did it. Just bleh. But now I started recording after it blew all this snot out. Look at all this stuff that was coming out the pipes. Just nice, huh? So, yeah, just tons of it. So what the deal was is the other technician, he couldn't get him to blow because they're all interconnected. So if he tried to blow here, it would come out, over here in this vent or whatever. And the restriction was down here in the 90, I believe. So we cut it over here in the main before it goes down and blew it and then put a bunch of unions in there. So thought I had photos of the unions, but didn't make it into there. So at the end of the day, look at these new Frederick units. They go in hotels and apartments. But I love it. These are supposed to, the front panel is supposed to be facing when you open the panel. Actually, I took the whole door off the wall here. It's supposed to be over there. I need to make this so I can see you guys' comments. So, yeah, this you have to go in here and get into it sideways. Of course, this pipe is right in the way. It goes up and down to every floor. It's a 20-floor building, man. That pipe just drops all the way down, man. Oh, so, yeah. You'd think the filter might have something to do with it not working, but I don't know. I heard that a technician had to go out there on call after behind me, so I don't know. The thing worked when I turned it on yesterday and thought maybe hopefully it was just that filter there. Those Fredericks have all sorts of sensors and everything. So let me check the comments before we go to the next one. I still haven't got to the nitty-gritty stuff. I just wanted to make sure everything's working first. Love the hat. Yeah, actually, I got this hat, and hold on. I got it because my kids were cringing at the Trump, and I'm not really a Trump bootlicker, but I was joking. I'm saying if I have to ever put on a mask, this is what they're getting. Oh man, is there a little bit of lag? I'm looking at the wrong screen, guys. Here we go. It says Trump 2020, MAGA 2020. So I'm like, oh, you don't want me to wear this mask? You don't want me to wear the mask? Okay, I'll take it off. And that'll be their option when I go someplace. What do you guys think of that? What? PepsiCo has to go? That dude's like always around, man. If I turn a live stream on randomly during the day, that's been the first guy to be in on the live streams. So I don't know if he has it like pops up on his phone with a notification or how that works, but he's always there, man. And now he's gonna leave. So what's up with that? Angle the camera down. No, I like it up like that. I'm like, everyone compares me to Al from the old show, the one with Tool Time. What's it called? Home Improvement. So that's what you guys get right now. Yeah, I'm all messy and sloppy today. That's a good reason to wear the hat. So, let's see what else. Libs are freaking out. Yeah, I don't believe in this mask mandate, and in my own time, I never wear the masks. I have to wear them a couple times for work. It really sucks. Yeah. So let's go to the next folder here. Oh, here's something. This is not HVAC, but my wife and family, they're downstairs right now dealing with Granny, who they're about to move in here temporarily from her apartment. They were trying to get her into a home. It's pretty bad, when the grandkids got to deal with all this instead of the direct kids down. None of them want to handle it. So my wife's handling her grandma. So she ran into something like a week ago. And then yesterday went to meet her. She goes, she's confused. She thinks she might have hit something. She's fallen asleep outside her kidney dialysis place. And so they called the wife like, hey, you got to come get her. We pull up over there. Right. And here's Granny's car. I'm like, yeah, that had a little bit of damage on the front. I saw a couple dents in it a week ago, but this is a little more than last time. Yeah, so evidently she actually rear-ended somebody on her way to her appointment or something. We don't think she should be driving. I don't think. My wife still hasn't taken her dang keys from her yet, but She doesn't have her car over here. It's left at the apartment. I don't want it over here because she's going to run into one of my neighbors or one of the kids, you know. So, hear about the guy wearing a Klan hood. Look at the comments here. Recently or a while back, I know some people have been doing all sorts of weird stunts. Like a husband and wife wore a Nazi symbols on their face masks. And depending on the perspective you look, I could kind of understand them doing it just to like mock how stupid the masks are and just triggering people the best they can. I think this is going to trigger them enough, but that was like, it definitely triggered a shot for that. But I don't know about the Klan one a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think I did hear something a little bit about it, but I don't think I really looked into it. They should have to, yeah, but you know what? The grandpa that just died like a couple months ago, by the way, they he was waiting to be put into a home for hospice, and he was a goner already. And then while he was waiting in the care center, he got COVID, and then he died like a couple weeks ago. And so when we were with the family for the dinner just recently, we said we'd like to see it. And then the one person that saw that or signed or whatever, they said it does say COVID on it. I'm like, I freaking knew it. COVID did not kill Grandpa, but $13,000 bounty that the federal government's giving, tax-funded money, saying, hey, if you deal with a COVID patient, there's $13,000 grant for you. Boom, but COVID is death. We dealt with the COVID patients. Bam, he's now used for the news to like scare the shit out of people. Come on, folks, if there was an epidemic, we wouldn't need the news to constantly tell us that people are dying from COVID, excluding elderly people, because they're in a state where even the flu or even the cold or even the COVID could end them, quote unquote. So it's a real play on words to say it killed them. It's just that they were in a state that they couldn't survive something that 99+% of the population will if they come in contact with COVID or flu or whatever. Other than the elderly, like you could go ask 5 friends and talk among yourself, and none of us will know somebody pretty much under 70 that's died of this. If it was a real pandemic, if it was a real pandemic, we would know people. We would know people. You wouldn't have to like go, need the news to convince you of it, or maybe know one person that could finally tell you they know somebody that was young and died of it. It's virtually unheard of for people that are young. It is all bullshit, Buckethead. It is definitely bullshit, dude. So I'm 50 now, so for our age bracket and younger, you're more likely to die statistically by driving in traffic every day. And these people that are going, you don't care, still whatever amount of people died. I'm like, well, you could, if by that same reaction that you're having, you could say, hey, let's lower the speed limit to 25 miles an hour, period, everywhere in the city, 25 miles an hour. You know how many lives that would save and how many injuries that would save? It would be mega, right? It would be a lot, but you would never think of doing that to your economy. Just our economy would not flow, and so nobody agrees with changing the speed limits to 25 miles an hour everywhere, even though it would drastically lower injuries and fatalities. So it's the same way the COVID thing. It's like, if you have an elderly, like we have an elderly person who just moved in, so of course, yeah, she should probably, not be going into shopping centers and stuff. People should go shopping for her, although she has been going out, so it's her free will to if she could. But I'm just saying, if you are worried about that person should be maybe shut up. Don't cough right in her face and stuff like that. But you don't shut down the world around her, and that's what they're doing. I think there's a big weird thing. If I had the pictures ready, I would have showed it to you guys, but I'd probably need to censor them because I snuck them from inside a place. But there was a place that I went to. It's not even like a high security place. It's like which is surprising. But in their lobby, you went in and you picked up a tablet, and then you put in your name and phone number, your contact information. And then after I did that, then I noticed, there's a second tablet over on a tripod. You got to go stand in front of it. It has a silhouette. You match your silhouette in there, takes your temperature, timestamps it, takes your picture, everything with the temperature. And then that all went to a third-party vendor somewhere. My information, my photo, and my temperature went someplace. And who gets that data? I didn't even get I didn't even get a warning or anything saying that you sign away those rights. So, whoa. I don't know if any of you guys have come across any of those Orwellian machines yet, but it also makes me wonder how the F stuff like that is ready to go and fully functional within just since spring. Makes you think that this stuff was ready to go already. And there was something, I'm not supposed to get political here at this channel, but before I finish on the COVID rant, but there was a thing like, what was it, last November or whatever, with Bill Gates and all of them were involved in, and it was like basically a run through like a, dry, whatever, fire drill, whatever. It was like, whatever you guys want to call it, but it's basically a test run, like a preparedness thing for them on this very thing. I forget what it was called. One of you guys might know about what it is, but it was this last fall about the same, and how a pandemic would run through the country and how you deal with it. And then a couple months later, all of a sudden they're going, oh, there's a virus in China. But I know Agenda 21, and I keep thinking of that name too, but that's not what they called it. They called it something else. Agenda 21 is years old in the making. This was something called, what was it? It's something they did. It was like a drill. It was last fall. It might have been before November, but it was just months before all of a sudden the news went in. Oh, hey, there's like somebody ate bat soup. It's about bullshit, right? And it was like, oh, China's got this thing. It could come here. They know. They just did it in order, and next thing you know, there's like, oh, there's cases here. So, and then of course, naturally, they scared the crap out of everybody, and they drove people to go get tested, even though they're not sick. And that trend is what made the data, the statistics for positive cases to climb up. But right now, we've reached that plateau because everybody that's cucked and willingly went in and got tested has now done it. So now they're at that point where they're struggling to maintain the bullshit, because unless they just totally pencil whip some tests. Of course, people said that they've signed up for the tests and then for some reason didn't make it into the test, but they signed up all their information, and then they got a letter or a notice come back that said they were positive, and that's happened to several people that never actually even got the test done. So right there is something crazy. Yeah, fuck Bill Gates. Dude, like I love, I'm fine with Microsoft and stuff, and he hasn't been involved in it for years, all the geeks are, but that dude is so filthy rich and so weird that he's like just thinking of power and what he could do to like change the world. He's just like moved on, like weird. But I don't know, this is like a rabbit hole, but look up Bill Gates' dad. He was like one of the main, he ran Planned Parenthood for a while. He's all into eugenics and stuff. So the guy's his dad was a weirdo, man. And it's another weird story about Bill Gates, just like there's about Zuckerberg and all those other people. Somebody else really kind of started what they were involved in, and then they kind of got it cheap or just took it or whatever and got all the credit for it. And that's how Bill was with DOS and everything like that back. It was all sort of shady shit. Yeah, it took place in October. What was it called, though? It wasn't Agenda 21. It was called something else. There was a name for that one specific drill that they did. Just kind of like another rabbit hole, like before 9/11, they actually did a drill for planes hitting towers. I mean, people say. So, say they were given their jobs. Yeah, well, Bill Gates was with other dudes, but he got all the credit. Zuckerberg was with other dudes. And originally, I have to say that Facebook was originally a cool idea when I heard about it. Because when I heard about it, it was way back when Event 201, Rodney, Event 201, that's it, buddy. And you know what? 201 is why we think Agenda 21, because Agenda 21 is like, but it's something that's, was drafted years ago. Event 201, guys, look that up. Look that up, man. It's what it's called, Event 201. From last year, they did that. Yeah. Anyway, dude, we're going down rabbit holes. I got to open this other. So one more regular thing. There's this just funny stuff I did. I'm working on like a train unit up above the ceiling. I know I just changed directions on you guys, didn't I? It's supposed to be an HVAC channel, right? So this drain isn't going to work, and it's holding water. You put this little dipshit idiot switch in there. It didn't work for some reason, but it leaked. I think the water just pulls it out when the water just gets like this high. Well, the reason is, I don't know if you guys install trains a lot, but you might notice that this right here is the primary drain, and this is the secondary. So looking inside, the water is holding up to this level right here. Add chat. I gotta put that chat window in there when I figure this out, guys. But so right here, that's how live the water was, and the water wasn't going out the primary because they had the pipes reversed. They had the drain pipe here when it needed to be here. So yeah, so I pulled the pipe out. There's your little knock on your pan. So water had to go up here. By then the water's this high, just the blower's just sucking it off the top. Yeah, so I just reversed them. Reconnected it like it's supposed to be. And that's all commercial, so you get the installation like a mother. Sometimes another company comes behind our guys and does all that. Sometimes it's the plumbers that hook all that up. There's so many like different people involved in this stuff. So hack-free conspiracy theories. Well, I'm all into that stuff, but it's just, you know, this is just my HVAC channel. But yeah, conspiracy theory stuff. People told me about stuff like that, and it's weird. I was at a place yesterday, and I said it in a 20-story place. I said, I hate these masks, and I don't put them on some enforcement. He goes, we're cool. So maintenance guys were cool, and we weren't around other people in the lobby or anything, and they said they were forced to wear it, and they hate them and stuff. But that guy started talking about conspiracy theory stuff. It was awesome. So yeah. So anyway, tonight, well, let me show you some photos I took like a week ago, but I never made them into videos. But I took apart one of those VFDs. This is the same kind of VFD I've sealed into my Lennox unit. The diodes are down underneath here on this other board, and they're part of the heat sink along with the IGBT. So, and then this boards are all soldered together. So I wasn't able to look and see what was in there. I was wanting to see what the ratings on them were, because maybe they were like overkilled, and I wouldn't have to worry about using it's a 3-phase input, but I'm using single-phase input. So that means you're putting all that current through just a few diodes, and they could explode, and then that thing will be broken. And you know, I don't know if you guys remember, but I sealed that in really nicely into my unit. And let's see here. Let me go to my drive. I'll show you guys. But inside my AC unit that I modified, I silicone the snot out of it. So that's the same VFD I just showed you with the shell off of it. So this is all sealed in here, so I don't want to have to cut that out. So I'm working on like making a external one. Let me fire up this video and then pause it so it doesn't make all the racket here. I'll just stream through it as we do this live. Check the comments there. What do you say? R2 that the maintenance company threw away and the traffic fixed it. Found a straight piped in the gutter. Those bastards. Right in the dead of night or something. No. Hey man, HVAC Harvey, what's up? So yeah, so let me fast forward here. I was hooking up my little scope. My old school scope was getting all sorts of noise, so I brought in that cheap Amazon one, man, it actually works. But right here it is. This is 2 bridge rectifiers I took off of a big circuit board that actually comes out of a mini split. So I'm wiring it just like that. So using single phase input, going to DC capacitor, you know, DC bus, which is capacitors, and into the, you know, VFD section is exactly what they do. So I have these 2. I put them with heatsink paste on this old computer CPU cooler, and I just have it temporarily wired because I wanted to just show you guys what it looked like hooked up in different methods. So when you first plug it in, you get this nice AC sine wave, you know, there. And then I was kind of moving it through there and showed you guys kind of how the diodes. There's a nice good picture of it too. So it's low voltage. I'm just coming out of a low voltage transformer. And actually I was using like a 230 volt tap or a 480 tap, which is 120, just to make it a nice low voltage to not fry anything here. There's your, so when you run it through one diode, you get just the positive edge. And then when you go just to the other side here, you get the negative, right? And your sine wave originally is going like this. This is all what I was meaning to make my video about when I went live, but we did all that other bullshit. So anyway, yeah, so this is your sine wave, and then you go through the one direction with the diodes, you get the negative half, and when you're doing the other direction, you're getting the positive half. Here's that half, the sine wave's going like this. And then if you go through the full wave, boom, you get like this. You're inverting the negative ones, which were right here. You're flipping them, so they're all, it's just, you're using 2 diodes. So basically you're just like taking 2 9-volt batteries, you're doing 9 volts and then you're like flipping the other or whatever. So you basically just get, but so the pulses that were down here, they're flipped up here. So now this here is one cycle of your sine wave, and then you get 60 of these a second. So you're gonna get 120 of these pulses every second. Boom, 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 boom. And then you have this gap. And then, so if you just remember, here's the peak. Remember here on this bar graph, on this top here, here's your peak amplitude. So when I say AC sine wave amplitude, this is 0 right here in the middle, right? And then you had like, you know, 0, and then it crossed over negative to the negative halves, and it's up at the top to the positive half, right? And then you got your full wave, like this. So then you flip it, yeah, you got full wave like this, and you got your hump. So basically, if you just sent it, when you send this to capacitors, this is all DC, this is your negative, your 0, and then your positive coming out. It's gonna charge up the capacitors to the peaks right here, the tops, which you're gonna see when I hook it up, and then you get this. You're gonna get it's just a flat level line. All that is the capacitors get charged, and since you're not using current, you're not taking power out of the capacitors, they just stay charged up. And so you just see this flat line. You're not seeing the up and downs because you don't see the downs because the capacitors, you know, capacitor does not discharge back into the AC. So people were talking about like reactive power and, you know, power factors and stuff. Well, with motors, that's true. But if you're going through diodes, it can't go back into the grid. It just stays. So when your voltage goes down, it doesn't go backwards. It just stays leveled off. Now, it stays leveled off until what? Until you take power out. So you have to like hook it up to, I don't think it's in this video clip. I'm gonna put so here we go. I had to stop it to hook it up, but now you got a ripple. And what that is, it was leveled off up here, remember, which was the peaks of the sine waves. And then, but I've got a fan hooked up to this as a load. So it's pulling, as soon as the sine wave drops down, it's no longer charging anymore. You're not off the grid power, right? Because the sine wave's going down before the next hump right here. So as your sine wave drop down right here, gosh, there's gotta be a way to show this real good. Go back to this, yeah. Boom, there we go. Gotta do it this way. All right, picture in picture, guys. So here's your sine waves going doot doot doot. This is like the same thing, but it's the top. These peaks are these peaks. So once this drops down, the DC bus stays up here because of the capacitors, but because there's a load now, the load's going to draw the capacitor down. So it's going to follow the curve of the AC of the sine wave, and you're going to see where the sine wave was, and it's called a DC ripple. So that's the capacity. So this is normal. You're always going to see a ripple. It's once you have a load hooked up. It can't be flat because it has to drop down below here for this to even charge into here again. This is your capacitor bank, and this is what's coming in. And so this is what it looks like when you add the capacitors. And then so there was something really cool I want to show you guys later. But so basically, right here on its way up, this is the only time that there's current flow. Remember I was telling you I can't read the current with my amp probe properly? Well, it's because of this. Because once that AC sine wave is coming up and it hits this lowest point, it finally starts to pull current when the AC power is higher than the DC bus. And then on its charge right here, just from here to the peak, is the only time you're pulling current. Then it pulls no current all the way till here, pulls current, no current. So you're only pulling current this little spot. Now, something kind of cool happened later in one of my videos, and I captured it. I went back and put the scope on the AC in. Okay, I think it must be the next clip. I don't have it. I'd say it, but I do have it as a picture, though. It is. And just looking through the pictures, we'll go again. Here's your AC. AC full rectified, just got this flipped over. The diodes just basically steered the negative half to positive, just reversing the polarity, positive, negative, real quick. Boom, boom, boom. And then DC bus ripple, and then check this out. This is looking at the output of the transformer when the load is running and it's sagging because it's, the transformer a little bit. Because why? Because it's pulling current right here. And then and the rest of the time it's not pulling current. And then remember this gets flipped over, so it's just a mirror image of it. It's pulling current. I'm only pulling current right here. And actually, look, let's use these awesome Windows 10 tools. Right here. Might be too small. Right there. Let's get a little bit bigger here. So the only time here, okay, let's chalk this off. This is this is your one cycle, right? Out of that one cycle, you're pulling current this much time, and right here, this much. So out of all this whole cycle, this is the only time any current flows. And this is why I wanted to make this video, because we were getting in a good discussion, and the fact that's making me do this is making me sharper also. They're saying it's never zero current. I go, yeah, it's only pulling current on its upward charging pulse, and then it's no current. There's zero current all the way here. This is just look at my side wave, but there's no current is flowing because at this point my DC bus stayed up here, and it sags down until being pulled down by the motor or the compressor, until it hits here, and the sine wave was now greater than the DC bus voltage, and then boop, it started pulling current. And then the DC bus stayed up until it got down here, and it's going like this, and that's your ripple. So I should change colors actually to show the DC bus. Green, well, that looked like shit. So this is the DC bus. Actually, as you first start, it comes up, goes, and it levels off. This is your DC bus ripple right here. Like that. So it's only charging, and these would be actually, that's what it's doing, but this needs to be flipped. It's actually charging right here, so it's going to be, let's do this. Got to imagine it's going down, and it's clipping right here. Because this is inverted, so your AC, let's see if we can make this look a little better. This sine wave is going to go up over here. It's going to be distorted, chopped, and then go back down. So it's this thing's inverted. And then this one here got chopped and it went back down. Yeah, so then it was like this. Here's our ripple. But it's only, again, it's only charging. It's only charging right here. But in this, let's delete these ones. For one time period, these two little instances are the only time it pulls any current. All this time right here, let's do black, it's zero current. Just to show you guys, within a duty cycle, right? Maybe I should put the black lines up higher, but basically, no current, no current, no current, and it's not pulling current longer than it is pulling current. When it does pull current, it's pulling its peak current to keep that DC bus charged up to 315 volts or 330 or whatever it is. It sags down a little bit when you put the load on there. So anyway, too bad some of those guys weren't on right now. We were all talking about this stuff, but this is in reference to those VFD drive videos I was making and what's going on and why putting on an amp clamp meter just doesn't do the job. So, yep. So let me check, pay attention to the comments again. I gotta get used to this, and what I need to do is put the comments, like I said, into this thing here. When I get this set up, gotta get the comments scrolling here so it'll be saved in the video. And then I put maybe a channel banner right here. I think I started setting this up before and just never finished it. So, yeah. So, man, there's a lot of comments in here I wasn't looking at. I just can't. I got two screens and everything. So, you named Microsoft after its PP. So theory, look it up. Oh no, I fully am aware about all that 201. I'm not, and I totally believe that there's stuff to that stuff. None of this stuff is accident about um, the COVID pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. So luckily, I keep on my personal time, I go shopping with no mask on, and Walmart's backed off. I haven't had her put a mask on at Walmart. I've had them try to ask me early on before they became Nazis, and then they became Nazis, but I just missed that aspect of it. And then I guess because Walmart employees were tackling people, Walmart sent out official letters saying don't confront people. So that's why you could pretty much just walk right in. And the last couple times I went to Walmart, dude, it was actually really funny. The last 2 times, a couple times ago, I actually started just pushing in a shopping cart from out in the parking lot, because I think it's funny when I walk in and say I prefer my shopping carts dirty. I like to just maintain my immune system, and normal germs it's good. I don't want sterilized shopping carts. So they gave me funny looks, but whatever, and they were trying to give me the sterilized carts, but that's when I started bringing in the dirty ones on purpose. Well, the last 2 times I went in there, because the carts keep disappearing from the derelicts, of course, and then they can't get the carts back in time, and they can't get them sterilized as fast as people are coming in. So they have a line like going into a concert. The last 2 times I went to Walmart, and I just kind of went there, and then they see me as my cart, and they're like, hey, people that already have a cart can just come on in. We're waiting on carts. So I got to pass like 20 people standing in line the last 2 times I went. Walk right past them with my dirty cart and go right in and go shopping. No mask, no face diaper, as we call it, no face panties. Right in. Everybody looking at me funny. They act like they've never seen somebody without a face mask. These people don't realize that, man, that takes your humanity away. Because when you, like right now, like you guys see, I'm only like purposely putting the top. Wait, I was only purposely putting the top. But it's like, it's just like they did with that Al character in Home Improvement. It's like all you see is his eyes. It takes away a lot of his person, right? So let's see here. Some of these comments were old. I was just kind of catching up, scrolling back. Could you technically use a VFD as a 120 volt, 60 hertz inverter to power AC stuff like a traditional inverter? At first, I didn't think so, but seeing what they're doing to recreate it, I think as long as it's an induction motor, I'm going to fiddle around with it on stuff I don't care about. I have like a 120 volt, remember that small 120 volt rotary compressor thing I got? Somebody gave me one of those portable AC units, and I took off the condenser and put a water heat exchanger on there to heat water with it for an experiment. I'm going to try to run it off of my solar with that spare VFD out back. And if you turn, you could change the settings, and it's already programmed in there to pseudo make 120 volt like typical sine wave, but it's just doing it off of a series of short pulses and then longer pulses and then back to short, and it recreates the current wave, even though technically it's always going to be pulsing the voltage that's in those capacitors. As far as I know, that should be what it does. And it's just the current will, because when you do short little tiny, the nature of the windings of the motor will kind of like smooth it out, and the current wave will reproduce basically your sine wave to some degree. So technically, if I program that thing for the max voltage to be 120 at 60 hertz, I'm going to try it. I already did fiddle a little bit with it like that and hooked it up to a box fan, and it ran a single phase one. I did have to hook it up. Well, I had something else hooked up because it would freak out being single phase, but I'll have to see. It's also going to be a single phase compressor I'm hooking up, but I've already experimented with hooking up regular blowers up that were single phases, hooking them up to the 3-phase output. It has crazy inefficiencies, but I haven't blown any of those motors up. They all worked. So maybe I'll hook up something that's 120. That was Rodney that asked that. I got deep today watching videos on IGBT dead time calculation. Who does that? Dude, yeah, when you have time, man, it's awesome. There's another channel. He's younger than me, but he reminds me of myself a lot. And it's called gosh, I'm messing him up. He's a HVAC guy, but he's young and he's real geeked out, and he's all into the IGBTs and stuff. I watched some of his videos, pretty cool. He was making he took one of his Chevy Express vans and put like a 30 horsepower AC motor, and it had like a whole bunch of 12 volt DC batteries in the back hooked up to a VFD, and it was crude, but it worked. He drove the van around. It's called something heat pump. Oh, it has something to do with the, dang it. Subcooled heat pump, I think is the name of his channel. Look him up, man. Sometimes he's been taking a long period between making new videos, but he makes some pretty cool videos, man. I like it. So yeah, H3C with S. I'm screwing up your name, man. But you came in here right at the end again, didn't you? You have a habit of that. The Pepsi Cola guy comes in, boom, right at the beginning, but he already left. He said he had to go. And then this other guy, he's here a lot, but he comes in towards the end. What's up? No, he's in early sometimes too. So it's Saturday night. Relax. Yeah, I know. But this was spur of the moment. I was telling you guys I wanted to set this up, so I wasn't prepared to do like maybe an end of the week live stream and review of the week. But I made these video clips here, as I just showed you.
I'm gonna put
but then I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna review them just live, just real quick, instead of editing a video. Just gotta spray that cart with Yellow Death. Dude, that Yellow Death is nasty. I think that's why I do cough sometimes. Between the Yellow Death, last job I was at, that was in-house, I was using the Yellow Death a lot because we had restaurants in there, and I just what was I gonna say? I just was cleaning those nasty, greasy coils with it, and then machines on site, and I would do quarterly cleaning on those. So I was like putting a bleach from the housekeeping, a barrel of bleach from them, and pour about an inch of bleach in with some water in a spray bottle and spray it to disinfect the ice machine. And then you wouldn't notice it till after you did it for a few hours. All of a sudden, wait a minute, I breathed way too much of that, and now it's like the hair in my lungs or throat or something are like permanently scarred from it. So it makes my throat get itchy. And then if I do start cough a little bit from feeling itchy or whatever, it gets everybody all worked up, Have you figured out a way to tell what the true amp reading is? No, but earlier in this video is kind of showing you, kind of why we're not getting a true amp reading. I think in that 20 amps is just what it's seeing. It's just that those meters are made for a normal sine wave current, what you get through a motor or something. And not just a bunch of pulse, about 20% of the cycle, which is that upward part of the DC ripple, is the only time you get current flow. It's the only time. The rest of it, there's no current flow. It's zero. But I just don't think the RMS reading, even though it says true RMS. Now there is my buddy here did give me put a battery in and a plug in your meter, but it's supposed to be expensive at the time, and it's a true RMS amp reading thing. I'm gonna try that maybe tomorrow or maybe Monday. I have to get a 9-volt battery for it. We'll see if it reads any different. But it's one of those things that you put in, you read volts on your meter, and it converts to amps. I'll read it on a regular, my 1 unit first or something to know it's working, and then I'll move it over to that one. So again, today I went outside like 11 o'clock, 11:30, and I pulled my AC utility power. Sun was up enough, it totally was able to run the compressor without the AC power. Now, but I'm not getting, it's when when the utility and the DC from the solar is plugged into my VFD, it's not running all off of solar. It's splitting like a voltage divider. It's like 300 and something volts from the rectified AC power, and then I got 330 volts from the solar panels. It's 330 at its full amp output, so it's higher than that before you load it, but still 330. This is a little higher than what the other voltage is, so it doesn't take all the current off of the AC line. It just like drops it like in half right now. So I could do maybe some other tricks. The simplest thing would be to add 2 more panels, and once it's running, have it switch those other 2 on or whatever to make the DC bus higher yet from the solar. More of a voltage divider basically effect. It would definitely pull at least 2/3 of the current off of the solar. Plus, I think the solar, it would add another 500 watts between 2 of the panels I'd be adding. So it'd be a win-win thing if I could put those other 2 panels on there. So I just have to go bucks each, $100. It's worth it. Be more of the comments here. Universal. Amber. here. We've got a female HVAC tech. Oh, send her my way. Let's get her from me. Just got to mess with her. So, yeah. Most HVAC world is just attics and regular house. Actually, most of the country, they don't see AC units on the roofs at all. So you guys just kind of go the basement or closet for the inside part, and then the unit's just sitting on the ground outside. Yeah, it's not often the case out here for us. Everything's above a ceiling. You see that GM again, who wanted you to wear the face diapers. GM, you talk about a general manager of a certain company. I know, let me get a little thing going on over here, breaking up. There's some companies that are telling people that when they're doing teleconference videos, like now, that they want them to keep the mask on. So it will, because which just proves it's social conditioning and not serious, at least for their safety. It's for a mental thing. And they're talking about when the kids do get to go, are starting to return, they're doing it through video with the teachers or with the classroom. They want them to wear face masks from home. That's a bunch of stupid bullshit. It's just more proves that the country's been cucked, and that's insane. So, yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And I heard it out their ass saying they want people to keep they're like it's gonna be a mandatory. You work from home, and if you video Skype somebody, you got to put the face diaper on. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. So yeah, and obviously, believe it or not, what they're saying, these fabricable, they're the worst for us. They get wet from your sweat or from breathing through them. That nice material just really efficient at catching all sorts of crap in the air, and then it's a breeding ground. It's a face. So from being spread, because nobody wears them like in a surgical room. We're all touching everything and touching everything else. So the virus still spreads. These do not stop virus spreading from COVID or flu at all, or nil, basically. But basically, they make the wearer more sick. And they say in some sense it does spread the virus more just because people are thinking that everything's fine and they're touching their face all the time because they're lifting the mask up and down. So, yeah. So, yep, it's a bunch of BS. And Amber said she has been installing package units for 15 years. What state are you in, Amber? What city? Very few split units. COVID, poop, masks, death. Yeah. I gotta get going in a second, but I just want to see what we're finish up here. Gotta find out where Amber's working. You working here in Phoenix, where it separates the men from the boys? I often say that when I'm talking the difference of mix and stuff from the likes of Goodman and whatever. West Virginia. Okay, so definitely, I'm going to assume it's not 115 degrees there. And what kind of rooftops you doing? Like houses? Do they put AC units on houses there? Or are you talking about commercial stuff? That's what she says. Because these are my views right here. But yeah, this is looking down from. I'm up higher than this one, so I'm just looking over here. Ooh, there's some Aeon units over there. Nice, nice. That's probably their hallway or the makeup air, and then it looks like they have splits. So units like this will be used to like condition the outside air a little bit. It's an old style. It doesn't look right. It's weird. It has louvers where the condenser is. Usually it's just one. It's just open. It must be some sort of guards. Huh. But yeah, right here is the air coming in. That's the outside air. Okay, so it actually has a return hooked up. So it's probably hallways or something. That's probably what they're probably just exchanging air in the hallway. So this is return air and then mixing in some outside air. And then, ooh, somebody was working on that one. Look at the panels are open on the Aeon unit. So, houses. Okay, she answered. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm glad I don't do hardly any residential anymore. It sucks. I'd rather go up on these roofs than be messing around in attics and stuff. But even though it is pretty brutal on these roofs here, because like I said earlier in the video, it's like 115, 117, like in the shade is what the official reading is. But if you get up here, I could stand and put myself in the shade, but it'll be like 120 because you got all this, you got the sun coming this way, but you got the sun bouncing back at everything off all these white roofs. The black roofs don't bounce it back in your face as much, but you get the radiated heat coming out of the really hot black rooftop, the asphalt or whatever. The white ones, the rooftop's not too hot, but it reflects the light. It's really bright. You have to wear. So these glasses I'm wearing they're transitional. They're also progressive, so I can read through them, but they also transition down, get darker. So yeah. And a little more show and tell. This is a pump I just changed. Put a new pump in. I tried it's supposed to be mounted this way, and there was holes in this. This is gay the way they set this stupid thing up, but this is like a recirculation pump for that huge building I was just standing on, to get the hot water from the furthest, domestic hot water from the furthest back to the boiler here. But it's supposed to be laying this way with the bolts going up, and I bolted it that way. It's not supposed to be just laying there hanging on the pipe. So I was trying to put it right. But somebody like put glue or something on these fittings, and I could not rotate these for nothing. So I had to lay it back down like that and then put their little shade as if that does anything. But that thing only lasted 3 years, and it cooked. It was cooked. I took the old one home and took it apart. It was torched. So any car projects in the works? No. I almost was going to get, when I got a truck, I was almost going to get something I would tinker with. And the Mustang, when I got that second Mustang, it was way too thrashed. And just a V8 crammed under the hood and getting underneath it. I'm getting older. I'm like, hell with that anymore. I'd rather have a truck project. So I was almost thinking to get a truck project, but then I got looking, and then I thought, maybe I'll get something new, like a 5-liter F-150, and maybe eventually throw a turbo on it or something maybe later. I know the newer 5.0s have the forged cranks and stuff like the Mustangs do, so they can actually take like 600-700 horsepower on the internals on stock 5.0s now on the newest ones. But anyway, I was looking, and what the deal was, I was wanting a shifter in the gosh, I'd have to show you guys maybe a picture here. Going through my OneDrive real quick. Show you the inside of my truck. I think I have a picture of the inside of the truck. I thought I did. Dang. I mean, this is the truck I got. It's a platinum, but it's used. But anyway, I wanted a shifter on the console, not on the column, not up by the steering. I want it down in the middle console because it's sporty, and I could rest my hand on and hit change it into sport mode there, downshift on the hills, whatever, going, 4x4 and whatever. So do that. So the salesman, I've done this, I always look for the odd vehicle. Like I looked for a stick shifter in 2000 or whatever, and the guy took me from lot to lot. Well, here I am doing the same thing, but I wanted the shifter in the middle for the auto on a truck. So we're driving lot to lot. He goes, well, we have this, and it's used. So used truck was as expensive as the new trucks I was looking at, but this one's loaded. Button, and it heats the seats back there. Only the front ones are cool, but it has this thing. It helps her. She's, doesn't walk, so I have to get her out. This thing comes out. That was one of the reasons I actually looked at the truck. Brother would pop out automatically. He said, dude, that would really be a nice feature for your daughter. Remote control, this pops down. It's dampened. I just pull out the thing and take her wheelchair out. So it's pretty cool. You have a Detroit diesel supercharged or turbocharged. You driving a service vehicle that has that in there? Those things sound badass. Yeah, they also use that engine in a lot of generators. It's cool that I guess they have to use the supercharger because it's a 2-stroke, so they need to keep the intake always positive pressure because it's a 2-stroke, and the way it goes through with the way they have it set up with the valves and everything, the whatever kind of, they're not cam, whatever, like it's a 2-stroke, but So you use a supercharger, keep it always positive displacement, and then they have a turbo for the power that like boosts the pressure up once it's running and revved up. It's pretty cool. I like hearing those things in trucks and heavy equipment. So, is that what's in your service vehicle? You driving an old service vehicle, Amber? Oh, my freaking monitor's blanked out on me over there. Oh, it came back. Man, I don't know why it does that sometimes to me. Yes. Hey, Roscoe, just seeing that somebody else was in here. New trucks have that turn dial crap. Dude, that's what they put in the nicer upscale Dodge trucks. That is ultra gay. I am not getting a truck with that turn dial. Ford, you better not do it. And I think people like the shifter down on the higher end Fords. The shifter's down on the console, right there where your right hand rests on it. I think people like it enough that they won't switch it. So anyway, I don't know. We could go on and on about, maybe I don't know if you guys, this will be a can of worms, but the new Ford Bronco, there's some pretty cool stuff with that thing. Of course, everybody wants a V8 in it. But a lot of people have a hard time to understand that. This twin turbo V6 here has keeps the weight towards the middle. It's not hanging out as front. It's lighter. And the torque band comes in way quicker than it does on the V8. Anybody's regular V8. You have full power just over 2,000 RPMs on these suckers, like 2,500 RPMs. You got full 400 and something foot-pounds. A new one of these, 475 foot-pounds out the door, man, at your mid RPM point. This thing has huge tires on it, and if you get into the throttle at all, it always peels out. It's pretty awesome. Hockey puck shifter from hell. Hold on here. What is this? Because I never use that. It's oh man, shift knob. We gotta see this gay thing right here firsthand. Oh gosh, images. Yeah, this stuff. What the hell? Town and country. This is the shift knob, right? And then for comparison, shifter. Yeah, so like this is like what I have right here. This shifter is awesome, man. So yeah, this is what men use. This is the men's shifter right here. And then if you get a Dodge, this is the girl shifter up on the freaking thing, man. Like on their nice trucks. They got this little freaking knob. It's not that one. It's the all-wheel drive one. Oh no, this one's right here. What's this? Four-wheel drive rotor shift knob. That's not what I was trying to look at. That's nice. The shift right there is pretty cool. That's not what they're putting in there. They're putting this bitch knob. This little bitch knob. That's what we're calling it from now on, guys. This is a bitch knob. And this is the man one shifter right here. Ford, man. I saw that in somebody else's truck, and ever since I'm like, dude, that is awesome. It's like, you know, the work truck I drive, of course, it's up here. But yeah, if you want to drop it down a gear to slow yourself down, or whatever, you got to like flip the little buttons, which is better than nothing. But man, this one's awesome right here. My thumb just rests right on the plus and minus buttons. It's awesome. She drives a bus, I guess so, huh, Roscoe? 40-foot Eagle, whatever that is. Supercar. Oh yeah, dude. Drive DB7 talking about, you know, the power out of those Eagle Boosts. Well, check it out. So if you drive like my truck right, these suckers are 0 to 60 within 6 seconds if you drive them right. You know, especially if you lock the rear, or you know, or put it in 4-wheel. Mine has 4-wheel auto and 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low, but I can put 4 auto and it actually doesn't bind up. It has somehow that you can. I don't know. I put it on. I turn it on the asphalt. It doesn't freak out. It freaking rips. And I just turn it and use it for if I want to take somebody off the line. Or you can just pull the knob out and it locks the rear diff. But it still peels out when you do that. Just not as bad. And you turn the traction control off. You got to do different things, and you can get these suckers to rip, and they'll blow most cars away. But they took the new F-150s. Go to fast lane trucks. dude, let's see here. Man, this thing's never probably opened YouTube, so I had no cache at all. What are you doing? Is this freaking browser? I'm just using this browser because I have all my personal stuff probably popping up. So fast lane truck. Dude, this is the channel. If you guys don't know about this channel, it's pretty cool, man. I love this channel. And then they have FTL. They have a bunch of other sub channels right here. These guys do real world testing. Ford was giving them a bunch of vehicles for all, but I guess they actually pissed Ford off a little bit by revealing some stuff on one of their vehicles, so they didn't get a bunch of early stuff on the Bronco like they expected to. But what was it? 5-star tuning. Star tuning. Dude, there's a video. 5-star quicker. They didn't do it there. At the drag rate. They did it again, dude. They did it. They'd used the tuner on these things, and it turns the boost up, and it makes way over 500 foot-pounds out of that 3.5 EcoBoost, and they broke the freaking drive shaft because they had a camper pulling a freaking trailer out the drag strip. But they do a drag strip run with it, with just the trucks. But anyway, it's on this channel. You guys can go find it. Tuned versus stock. It might actually be this one. And those trucks, guess what these trucks run? Oh, man. Gotta turn that on. Those trucks run under 5 seconds, 0 to 60. And that was in Colorado, I think, still. But they were brake boosting it to get the boost up. The traction control off. 4-wheel high. Brake boosted it. But it was with a light, everything at the... Anyway, 4.7 seconds, 0 to 60. Which is what a Corvette didn't do until the 90s. So that's a freaking F-150 4-door 4-wheel drive, the size of my truck. The newer one with the 5-star tuning on it, and it might have had a different air filter in there, but otherwise it's stock turbos and everything, 4.7 seconds 0 to 60. And already you can take a truck like these and just, most cars, even sports cars, across the intersections we have here, it's rough. It's not a close competitive event. It's city streets, rough, bumpy. A car, just like like my Mustang, for example, I couldn't just floor it off the line, especially if it had the turbo on it. Dude, it would spin, it'd be bumpy, it would lose traction. Trucks like this will just kick your ass across the intersection. And I do kick a lot of asses with this thing. It's kind of fun. So, check the comments again. The new Bronco is supposed to have one as an option. What were you saying? Have what as an option? Kind of missed what you guys said. 350 and an S10. Yeah, well, I mean, that's been done a lot. The badass S10 was the Blazers, and they called them the Extreme. And that was with the 4.3 liter V6 and a turbo. And those were pretty much around 5 seconds, 0 to 60, I think, or something. So they were pretty badass, but they didn't have that. They didn't make too many of them. They got pulled. So let's see what else people are saying. Faster than my NA 2JZ Lexus. Well, now your new Supra come out. It's just a rebadged BMW. Yeah, that didn't sit too well with Supra fans, did it? Yeah, Lexus is just a Toyota, just like an Acura is a Honda, Lincoln is a Ford, stuff like that. Sometimes there's not any differences other than trim, but sometimes you'll actually get a different engine, like Ford, had the 32 valve overhead cam V8s, in the Lincolns and stuff. I was watching some Hot Rod channel, and people were saying those engines were pretty awesome to swap in to vehicles and beef up. So, the Vipers are not that impressive for what they are. They're an 8-liter V10, 8 liters, and they were only making 400-something horsepower and 400-something foot-pounds of torque. So these are making almost the power of a Viper V10, and then when you tune these engines, they make more than a stock Viper V10. Now, I don't know about the newer ones, I take, there is the other Viper. What is it called? The badass one, the ACR or something. I think it's higher ratings than that. But the regular Viper, you know, V10, 8-liter engine, and the 8-liter engine they were sticking in the trucks. Not impressive for the size. They were just a big engine, V10, 8.0 liters. Heavy. So, yeah. The Raptors run the EcoBoost too. Yeah, they Raptors, the new Raptors are 500, almost 500 horsepower and are over 500 foot-pounds of torque. The torque curve comes in so early that it is faster and there's more performance than anybody's naturally aspirated V8 in a truck that you buy, basically. When I say anybody's, I'm talking about, like, you know, consumer trucks that you buy with, you know, and the V8 with no supercharger, nothing on them. Yeah, they're just, this EcoBoost just blows the doors off. The EcoBoost can't be that bad. They're good if you take care of them. I've been watching the Ford Mocha Loco channel or whatever, and I just changed the oil for the first time, even though the reminder hadn't come up yet, because he says don't go the full intervals that they say, which is crazy long, and be careful with the oils because this has a one-piece, really long timing chain, and they'll stretch if you use crappy oil or let it go a long time. So he says this what's the yellow brand of oil? God, I used to always hate this brand. But anyway, he says use that, and these engines are going hundreds of thousands of miles on it and stuff, and it seems it likes it. Mocha Loco, oh yeah, I got to show you guys the channel now. You're going to be like, what are you talking about? So I should do, where is this? Go to a new, no, I'm not trying to close tabs. I just, dude, this thing did what I did not want it to do. So basically, hopefully we're still live. I tried to click on it, add another page. All right, it opened back up. Stupid thing. And it updated while I did that. So hopefully, Pennzoil, that's the brand. All right. This guy's probably going to come up right here. I watched this channel. You could see Scotty Kilmore, all this stuff. But it's the, dude, Ford Tech. My fingers. It's right here. This guy. If you guys are into Fords and you want to work on Fords, this dude, like what I am to the HVAC world here, oops, what I am sharing information and everything on here and what you guys do and everything, this guy is to like Ford. He's like he's a Ford tech. That's pretty much all he does. And like he always puts out like here, right here, he's like stuff, you know, here's like a common boost leak on some of the older designs. But he's like, he has like one about the oil. Like do not follow, something like do not follow Fords. I don't know. It's like it's oil change interval. Yeah, right here, man. This is a good video. This is an eye opener right here, man. Talk about transmissions and stuff. Never follow Ford's lifetime fluid service intervals. Okay, this is the one video. He has another one about the oil. But yeah, he's showing like in some of their vehicles, like the Edges or something like that, or some of the other, the PTs, the power takeoff, or I guess you have your transaxle, and it's all-wheel drive vehicles, the Explorers and stuff. The little part that goes in between that goes to the front axles and everything or whatever, it only holds like 1 quart of automatic transmission fluid, and it has no cooler for it, and it just fries. So he's got a bunch of cool videos. But that's one of the cool videos. Maintenance right here. Here it is. I think this is the other one that talks about the oil. This guy's cool, and I've been around cars enough that I know, you know, he knows what he's talking about. I did something not too long ago because of him. Checked something on my car. I don't know, but yeah, he talks about all this stuff. This is our transfer case that we have, and it's all, you know, electric. The intervals. So basically, you know, he sees Ford vehicles a lot, and he says like with the EcoBoosts and stuff, they have that super long timing chain and whatnot. He says that people like come in and have them religiously change the oil and use full synthetic, especially that Pennzoil. And something about what it's made out of, the chiming chain, everything just gets along real well with it. He says his engines are going like 200,000-300,000 miles, and the timing chain never fails and everything. But then people that just push it, or they use some shady oils, those chains, it adds up. They get all this a little extra stretch in it, and it adds up to like a quarter inch or whatever, and then it winds up like throwing it like you get a cam phaser out of sync error. So if you're into Fords, this guy's a must watch. Also here, he's showing putting in one of those catch cans. Here in my area, we don't have all the humidity as much as you guys, or cold weather humidity, I should say, to where you're getting all this weird stuff going on inside there. Some people have to drill a hole, a weep hole into the bottom of an intercooler. I don't think I need to do that. My brother-in-law did it to his, but I think as long as you floor your truck enough, which I do, it clears all this crap out. This kind of stuff happens to people that, baby their stuff. And they said that's something that also is detrimental to the EcoBoost engines, is people that drive them in eco mode. Because this is a 20 miles per gallon truck in the city. if you don't ever get into the boost, and you can drive a tank of gas and just kind of drive it at normal, get up to 45 to where it gets into 6th gear. Mine doesn't have the 10 speed, it's 6 speed. It's a 20 miles per gallon truck, which is, dude, my Dakota and my Durango were 13 miles per gallon vehicles. This thing's will get like 20. But it averages me like 15 to 16 on most tanks because you hot rod it too. So, but if you only drive in an eco mode, and you just get all that buildup and crap. But if you haul ass regularly in it, it keeps all that stuff cleared out. So it's got almost 90,000 miles on it. Italian tune-up, that's exactly it, man. The new ones have both direct injection and port injection, so it cleans the back of the valves. Mine's not the first generation, it's a 2015, but it's still just direct injection. It doesn't have port injection at all. So you're watching too. Yeah, that's a good channel. Scotty Kilmore, he's kind of okay, but he's more like for just for kind of, some of his information, but he's very opinionated. Although he started doing a bunch of pro Ford stuff for a little bit when he kind of always just was pro Toyota and kind of ripped on Ford, but I don't know. But he puts up a lot of clickbait. Like, it sounds like he's really insulting like a Ford or, but then you watch the video and he's not really. It's like just telling you about something to be watching out for or something. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, carbon's bad about it when you builds up, it makes hot spots and you get that detonation. Yeah, well, I just had a 96 Mustang GT, which had the first generation 4.6, and then I had the 2002, which the PI came out like 2000 or so. That actually has like another 20-30 horsepower on the top end of the power band, so it probably wouldn't have lost to the van. But the first one wasn't all that fast stock. Maybe if you drove it real well, but I don't know. Our minivan, we have the 2013 with the 3.6, 300 horse, almost 300 horse with a 6-speed, and the first 3 gears are real close in ratio, where when it shifts, it only drops down to like 4,500 RPMs, and it's at peak power. The van rips. Once it gets rolling, it actually hauls ass up to about 60, our minivan. It's just hard to get traction in it. But so was my Mustang GT, and the gears were way further apart. So yeah, I think 0 to 60, I think that our van, it was faster than my 96 GT was stock. But once I put the turbo on there, it wasn't any faster from 0 to 30. It just spun really bad, so I just baby it and then put it in second and then punch it. But once I could punch it, then it was fast. But then when I relocated that exhaust, some of you guys were following me back then, I tried to put it through a single pipe on the side of the engine. I never did get it to work right, and I kept chasing the tune and stuff, and I realized what it was. The exhaust wasn't getting out of the cylinder. It's also why I was trying to tune out the detonation that, it was getting. And it's because hot gas was remaining in the cylinder with the next charge. I was weird. I go, dude, I have a shitload of boost, like 13 PSI, but it ain't making the power. The very low, it still roast the tires, but once it got up to 4,000 RPMs and above, it hit a brick wall. And what it was, I realize it now, was my exhaust was too restrictive. Single turbo, but I went through a single turbo, now a 2¼ inch pipe leaked for about 2 feet before it jumped back down under the car, and it restricted it. Does your daughter still drive the Mustang? No, I made it stock. She drove it just after her Cavalier blew up from running it out of oil, and it ran until she got the cruise she has, which I've worked on several times and had to look at yesterday. Yeah, and then she just sold that car just to get her down payment money back. Fiero GT, yeah, Fiero. Most of them were slow, but then I think they had the V6 one, right? The GT one was the V6, I think. But most of them were the Iron Duke 2.5 liters, I think is what they were. And they were not fast. But yeah. Of course, most Mustangs are just V6s also, but you know, a lot of me around here, they put the fake badging on them, but you could tell by listening to them. But yeah, the mid to late 90s ones were not all that fast. Of course, now a 2.3 liter EcoBoost Mustang will absolutely dust the first generation 4.6 Mustangs. But 4.6 Mustangs, you could do a lot to them though, and those engines are tough as shit. And you can add 200 horsepower to those engines with a power adder, turbo or supercharged or whatever, and then they're fucking fun as hell. And they're just tough engines that take a shitload of abuse. And if you blow one of those 4.6s up, you could go down to the junkyard and buy another engine for $300-400 out of a Mustang or Crown Victoria, because there was just so many of them. Yeah. So we say my son-in-law works at Chapman. BMW says stay away because about all their cars are crap too. Toyota sends them their Supra there because they can't do certain jobs. Yeah, the Supra is just a BMW. BMW inline 6 with their transmission and everything. Yeah. I think the transmission is a dual clutch now though, isn't it though? So I think it shifts really fucking fast. But it's still not going to have the following that the previous Supras did. 9:30. I can't believe the family hasn't come up here and just annoyed me. But my throat's starting to get a little So, V8 motors, blow oil. Oh yeah, those engines, BMWs and Mercedes, like everybody like that thinks they're hot shit. That gets them when they're new and shit. But there's a reason that those cars are pretty cheap when they're 5 to 10 years old. Everybody that wants the name buys these used cars, and then they're a money pit, and then they're not dime a dozen. Can't just go, you know, it's just not an easy thing. That's why I actually told my daughter to get the Cavalier was fine. The Cruise, you know, we actually picked out, I'm like, it's a dime a dozen car, and I figured we could just go to the junkyard and get parts, or parts are pretty cheap for it at the auto parts store, and they are, you know. So, yep. So, anyway, I probably better cut this. I do, at least I could see what the potential of this could be. So what I'll start to do now is, because a lot of my video clips and photos I take, they never actually get made into videos. That's why sometimes I've been just doing some of the live streams also, just to kind of, something's interesting, and then I can just throw it up there and talk to you guys, and then just get it out there, and I don't have to come home and edit it or nothing. But bad thing is it's so bright on the roofs now, though, that it's hard for me to read the screen or do anything, and we're getting busy. Yesterday, dude, yesterday Friday, right? I actually made it the whole day without ever putting my Bluetooth earpieces in. I never put them, and I always use Bluetooth. I was just too busy to grab it and actually put them in my ear. All my phone calls and everything I made just holding the phone up to my ear. It's weird. That hasn't happened in years, but yeah, it was kind of hectic the last couple of days. So, oh, Roscoe, you're here in Phoenix also, huh? You said Chapman BMW. I almost was going to ask you if you're around here. Dude, I have pictures. I work on some of those Chapman buildings. The ones out there in Scottsdale and stuff. I go in there, work on those. So, Ford, Dodge, a couple other ones out there. Just waiting for it to respond. But maybe I'll get this software kind of set up. It's probably a way for me to do maybe I just have to do a private or something, so I can test it and kind of see what everything's doing, and get the chat box to show up in the little bar on the side there. That's what that is going to be for. Cool, you have the 3-phase unit. Yeah, it's kind of something I've been wanting to do for a while. When I worked on units and I work on VFDs and stuff, I'm like, and then I see, kind of reverse engineer in my mind, you know, all these circuit boards I take out of like these little inverter mini splits, or even the big, you know, LGs and Mitsubishis and stuff. I'm like, man. And if this unit wouldn't have worked here, hold on just a second. Let's see. Oops. All right. I'm going to show you guys my Ecobee thing if it connects. Make sure it doesn't have all my personal info before I put it up there. I know sometimes it shows like my address and everything. But what was I starting to even say? Ecopee. I know I had that Ecopee forever, and it was so Big Brother because it's the top of the line one. I didn't want to have it in there, but it's in my house now. But what I was starting to say is basically that I downsized my unit to a 3-ton for the upstairs, and I totally anticipated it creeping up on the hot days, and then I have to go put a mini split in one of these rooms and then take the room off of the system. But no, I've been able to pretty much get 76. With us coming in and out a lot, like loading stuff and everything, I've seen it drift up to 77 twice now, but it would drop back down to like 76. And I have it set for like 75, so it like stays a degree above, right? We're switching off the second stage and the first, so it stays 1 degree above until the sun starts going down, then it goes to 75. And Ecobee. Trying to look at webcam. Oh, I guess they got webcams on. For some reason, I'm not showing you this guy on the screen, but my Ecobee is not. What the heck? Nope. Huh. My devices. Weird. The Ecobee website. There it goes. I just hit refresh and it popped up. I was getting mad at it. Alexa, it's always listening. See if you can hear me through the vent, through my pass. My thermostat's in the hallway right outside my bedroom. Hey Alexa, what's the weather? Maybe it didn't hear me that easy, but that thing definitely has a good range on hearing you, man. It's pretty scary, guys. So yeah, right here, it's down to 1 stage. We're at 9:30 at night, so it's 1 stage, and what it'll do is as it starts cooling off, here's the temperature right now, guys, 105 degrees. As soon as it starts cooling off a little bit, it'll go all the way down to 75 on the first stage. But right now, when it lets go, it just stalls and stays 1 degree above because that's how I have it set. You can go through and set all this stuff in this unit. I don't remember where it was, but so I manually set it. It's not on auto, it's on like, when it gets up over a degree, it goes to 2 stage. And when it gets within a degree, it goes to 1 stage. And that's how I have it set up, which is kind of similar to how, I think the Honeywells and stuff, they were like 2 degrees above or something, but I set it for 1. IQ, this is the thing people told me. See this, runtime community comparison. Everybody's trying to tell me, look at this, but see, they will be available next month after you've provided your home's location and characteristics. Oh, maybe I have to put in some more details, but it also has to run a month, I think it said. So schedule, not using that. Got 2 sensors. Right now they're 76, but sometimes in the daytime my bedroom would get a little warmer. So that's why I'm using the remote sensor in the bedroom, and tell it to back off of that. So yeah, that's it. And you can see the weather. I don't know if it clicks on. Here's our weather. There's going to be a high of 113 tomorrow. Yeah, this is a mistake. What the hell? I think they meant that was the peak, but an overnight 109, 101. It's supposed to be 89 for a low, 113 tomorrow, then back up to 114 on Monday. 113, 114, so yeah, like low teens for the week. I don't know what you guys think of that. Oh, someone else is in Glendale. Crisis, 1837. You're in Glendale, Arizona, I assume, not California. And then I asked the other guy up above. I didn't catch it. He said it, but he said here in Phoenix. Yeah, here, Rusco. Oh, your daughter works there at Chapman on Camelback, huh? Nice. Okay, so well, the maintenance guy that works on the Chapman's a cool guy, man. You might even be seeing these videos, but he's pretty awesome. So we get along real good. And sometimes but he's pretty busy. I hardly ever see him on the sites anymore, but he used to a lot. But now he's usually been pretty busy. So you could put caps on the DC side. You talking about on the VFD? Well, there's already capacitors in there, but earlier in the video, if you looked, I was showing you guys something I was building. I'm building an external rectifier, so it won't cook the one that's in there that's made for 3-phase input. It's not using all the diodes, so it could be putting more current than the diodes are rated for. Now I looked up the bridge rectifier, and it's on the 2 that I'm using, and it says like 27, 30 amps or something like that, continuous, and like 60 pulse or something like that. So I think it's fine. Oh, and the other thing is it's not hooked. I hooked it up the way it was on a circuit board. It's like I have one bridge rectifier with one line going to both of its AC inputs, and then the other bridge rectifier has the other line going through both of its AC inputs. And usually the one bridge rectifier is used alone, and you use one of each line going to the two discrete AC inputs. I'd have to show you guys it to show you basically what it's doing, but it's kind of interesting how they had it. But I should be well within its specs, I think. What do you think about the mini split? I think mini splits are pretty cool as they aren't junked. We've had some issues with some of the Daikin's. But Daikin makes a 115 volt, 1 ton and below, or 115 volt. And I think that's a good candidate for an experiment. For our, you get those for under $1,000, put it in a room, put a run. And then, so I calculated, I think the DC bus is going to be in the 160 range volts. So you put 6 of the solar panels I buy used, that'd be $300 worth. It'd make 180 volts at its full load. Plug that into the DC bus, and voila, you will have a dual power source. At least as far as the compressor goes, it won't run when your utility goes out. But if you have an inverter feeding the controls, you could. You could do. I want to experiment with one of those and maybe see if I can grid and off batteries or something, and maybe have one. Put it in one of my rooms, and then if the power goes out during the day, that unit will keep running off the solar. If I had some batteries, I think I could get it to run a couple hours at night off of some batteries. But batteries are what costs, man. They're expensive. My friend got some cool deal on some of these pouch batteries that were from unused, but they were the brackets were wrong. They were supposed to be for Chevy Volts or something. Very powerful, good batteries, but you have to use a stack of them, and they were $50 each. It would add up really fast. But they're badass. He built them for some guy's survival rig, and he's got an off-grid solar with batteries, and it's in I have a video of it. This mini split runs right off of the solar and off of batteries. It's pretty awesome. 102, where you're at? Where'd it go? Dude, I've been getting some glitches in this since it had an update. Yep, it's doing this to all my apps. I don't know what the heck's up. But yeah, this says, it says 102 here also. Yeah, that's what you were talking about. So you're in Phoenix, you said, so yeah. So you're in the same area. And then somebody else up above said they were in Glendale. Get an answer after that. So got a couple local guys here. I have a window AC that the board blew up, so I added a contactor transformer and use a regular thermostat. The control circuit runs on DC. Yeah, it depends. I mean, does it have a rotary, like a 115 volt rotary? Probably. Your window AC does it have a 115 volt rotary? Probably does if it's small. But the circuit board was probably all like, off of just all little DC powered and everything. So you could run it off solar during the rig. They added some more batteries. It was just running out of juice by morning once it got hot. So they added some more batteries to it, and now it makes it in the night. So that's cool. Anyway, I keep humidity. Yes. Know that I hate humidity. Anyway, we got to end this though. It's been oh, hold on. I'm live, child.
Okay, don't come talk to me.
Oh, don't talk. Hold on a second. I'm going to be personal about your grandma or whatever.
No,
people are listening.
I don't care.
I do.
So grandma is sleeping on the couch. Please stay somewhat quiet. And we're about to go jump some trash off and drop
illegally drop off trash at the dumpsters.
No, at her dumpster.
Oh, that's right. You guys got.
And then
we normally use the dumpsters behind.
Drop off her neighbor when she came over.
Oh.
So
how'd she get here? She didn't drive herself.
No, she doesn't have a car.
What do you think about this hat right here?
Your hat's ugly.
Trump. I wasn't a big Trump supporter, but because he gets a bunch of all the slander, it makes you want to support him more.
Ew.
Hey, child, don't be getting with your socialist friends.
Trump's obsession for Trump was kind of gay.
Better watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
So please stay quiet. Grandma's sleeping on the back of me, but makes
better chop. All right. So they got to run some errands. The other daughter's gonna be down there. Grandma that just got brought here today, she's there. So all sorts of fun going on. So anyway, with that, guys, yeah, stream. But I gotta see how to stop this. I think you just stop it on my streaming thing. So it's also recording. So that will catch you guys later. Don't forget to like and